Welcome back, everybody. I'm Edwin,
And I'm Joseph.
and this is
Edwin and Joseph Talks. So, on this episode of Alien Monday, we're going to dive into, it's a little bit paranormal to what we usually do, but we're going to talk about a place called Skinwalker Ranch. Now, it was normally called Sherman Ranch until it was sold, I'm going to say in 1996.
Yeah, it was 96.
And basically, a lot of weird stuff has happened here. Between 1 and 10, I would scale it to a number 15 on the weird stuff-o-meter. So it's located west of Utah County, and it borders an Indian reservation of the Ute Indians. There's been sightings of UFOs. There's been sightings of paranormal activity, of what they call a skinwalker. We'll get in more into what those things are later. Ever since like the 1600s.
Yeah.
What all do you know of the Skinwalker Ranch before we get into it?
Well, I remember reading about this like forever ago, man, because both you and I are into like the UFO things. So looking through stuff and reading different things, I ran across the Skinwalker Ranch, and I remember the guy who owned it, Sherman. He that's the reason why he ended up selling it, because he said that he was constantly like on a nightly basis being like, I don't know, he never really got into the details of them like maybe going into the house, but I know there was always some kind of UFO activity going around there.
Yeah.
And I know he said it got to the point where it was violent, not necessarily towards him or family, but like the cattle mutilation thing.
Yeah.
It started messing with his cows and stuff, and I guess finally he just had enough and he sold it.
Well, I know that the reason why it got dubbed back to Skinwalkers, which if you do research in a lot of Native American tribes, they have what they call a skinwalker, and I believe they have another name for it as well. But basically, they believe it's a benevolent witch. So, through all their history and stuff, now they describe it as a being that can take a form into any animal. Terry Sherman had mentioned that there was one night that he stepped outside and there was a figure that looked almost like a werewolf and had piercing red eyes that glue, that he shot at 3 times. The first time, and he knew it hit. The first time, it just acted like it wasn't there. The second time, it got up. He said on hind legs, like a human. The third time it hit, looked back at him. That's how he knew it had those eyes. And just walked away the other direction like it was nothing.
And you mentioned to me when we were talking about it, this thing was like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, he mentioned that, it was very tall. Huge. Now...
But see, in the Navajo thing, like the skinwalkers, they're actually known for walking on all fours. It's just not like what you would picture a cat or dog walking on all fours. They're like elongated. Their knees are kind of bent, almost like in a backwards thing. And they just walk really crazy, man.
There's tons and tons of reports where I've read of people saying that these skinwalkers have the body of like a dog and the hands and face of a human. Other ones I've seen where I think we had looked at a picture of what they call the goat man.
Yeah, where it kind of looked like I can't remember the name of it, but
it basically has like almost kind of like a head and real long horns of a goat, but the rest of the body was more humanoid.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these sightings that have been there. Now, on the UFO part, there's been tons and tons of activity that, you know, from flying orbs to nauseating light to actual cases, especially around the backside. I don't know if it's the backside, but where the reservation is,
Yeah.
around that area, that they witness a lot of UFO activity.
Well, when he started coming out with the claims about it too, I remember reading that they did. They took like samples off the ground to test it, and there was like high levels of radiation in the ground too.
And I know that they've had just strange crop circles happen there.
Yeah.
That they've documented as real. They couldn't debunk it. There's just been tons of weird stuff. I know the cattle mutilation. You hear that a lot with UFO incidents.
Yeah.
Where I personally believe it's like they're doing DNA testing or harvesting parts for different reasons.
Yeah.
That's just my whole thing on it. The Skinwalkers are different. That's
just out there.
That's
man.
like supernatural, like superhero type stuff that they do. It's insane, from mimicking people's loved ones to deceased members, calling out names to lure people out in the woods, stuff like that. Now, there's also been, you know, government investigations happen here. Terry Sherman sold the ranch to Bigelow, Robert Bigelow. He's a billionaire that owns a huge, almost like the Boeing company.
Yeah.
But it's Bigelow Corporation, and I know he does a lot of stuff with the government. He's one of the very few people that has ties to space that will straight out say there is aliens.
Yeah.
Now he bought it for $200,000.
And this is where it gets weird.
Yeah, and he bought it so, and I didn't get the full.
Explanation?
Well, no, I didn't get the full name of this. It was called the NID Psi Foundation, and basically, it was a scientific group that he had formed that was part government to do investigations here. Now, back in 2016, Bigelow sold it. And this is where it, like I said, it gets interesting. He sold it for $4.5 million. So he went from $200,000 to $4.5 million, selling it to a thing called Animantium Holdings, which sounds like something out of Marvel. People have figured out it's a shell corporation.
Now, but what? Okay, so you showed me the website. And
Yeah.
What does their website do?
So you can look them up. They have a website, and their website's peculiar because they do real estate for like high-end, like rich people.
Now they're talking about like building these insane, crazy, big mansion type houses. They sell private islands. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, they're talking about selling like mansions and islands that has like Versace furniture and stuff
You
like
see
that.
like some kind of super yacht or something like that too?
Yeah. So, what does this corporation want with a ranch?
And the weird thing too is you were talking about, because you checked out the site before we started filming.
Yeah,
this.
there was a lot of people that had reported that they were just talking about weird stuff about, I want to say it was like scientific discovery and doing testing and all this weird stuff. And they're like, what? That's not...
And this is a real estate website. Like,
Yeah.
they still had their real estate stuff up there, and then they somehow diverted into like testing and experimentation. And
So when they bought this place, the road that went to or by it was a government road. It was, owned. Well, they shut that down and made it a private road. Not only did they do that, they put a fenced and barbed wire perimeter around the ranch.
And there's signs telling you not to go down the road.
They put blockades up. They have cameras, and there's signs saying that you're trespassing.
It's almost like Area 51-ish the way they set it
Yeah.
up.
And that right there, I mean, that's a lot. This is almost a 500-acre ranch that they did this to. And they said that there's testing going along. A lot of people believe it's government, because that's a lot of... That's just very peculiar for one. That's a lot of money to put into something that's not a high-end real estate that they sell.
Yeah, because I mean, this is if you haven't seen anything about it, it's legit just like a ranch. Like it, I mean, it's a nice house up there, but it's not something you would associate with a website like that trying to sell. You know,
Especially one that has so many reports, that has a 50-year report span of UFOs,
and
of paranormal activity,
skinwalkers, just different kinds of weird creatures associated with that property. And the first place to buy it is like a big fancy real estate company,
which was sold for millions of dollars when
Now,
originally purchased for $200,000.
And it should be noted that the weird stuff that was on their website, it's no longer there.
Yeah, it's gone. Because I looked at it and I'd read some of the stuff that was kind of like, wait, what? Wait a minute. But once people started talking about it, it's like they changed it a little bit.
But even then, like if you were to go online and look up the Skinwalker Ranch, and then go and look up this website, like it still doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
That this place wanted to buy this.
Especially what has happened since they bought it. I personally believe that there's governmental stuff going on. We had talked about the USS Nimitz.
Yeah.
The guy that worked at the Pentagon, he's even has experiences at this ranch and done stuff. Excuse me. So, really, what is your thoughts on this? You know, this is a strange place. Like I said, the weird stuff-o-meter, I was going to say something different, but we're going to keep it clean. You know, usually is a 10 at the very top. I would rate this one as a 15. Definitely check it out. Check out the stories. They even made a video, a movie on it, I bet 2013.
Yeah, the movie's a little kind of off, though.
It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Theatrical. But,
definitely do the research on this one, though. Like, look up the Skinwalker Ranch, and after you're done reading about it and all that, check out the website. What was it? Adamantium Holdings?
Look up Adamantium Real Estate, and you can find the website. It's not the first thing that pops up. You're going to see stuff about government cover-ups and all this stuff when you do it at the very first. So we're not the only ones talking about this. We're not going to be the last people to talk about it. But I would love to get your guys' input on this. You know, what do you guys got to say on it? With that one, we're going to close out this episode. Like, subscribe, share, comments. Got anything else?
Thank you for stopping by. Sorry we're behind on content again, but we'll see you guys next time.